Hi, Catherine Pinkerton Keeling. We're here at our ranch in Santa Paula. Santa Paula is located about 60 miles northwest of Los Angeles. We're fortunate to grow avocados here in Ventura County, where the climate is very supportive of our production due to the abundant sunshine and quality of our soil. So I was lucky to grow up in Santa Paula. I come from two families that grow avocados. We are currently on my dad's parents' ranch in the flats in the valley, and this is where I spent most of my childhood. If I wasn't at my house up in Adams Canyon on Happy Talk Ranch, I was here. As a kid, it was a magical wonderland to grow up in an avocado orchard. My brother and I had the ability to run free. We built tree houses, we had our dogs, we would camp. We spent all our time outside, which is a wonderful way to spend your childhood. I think it helped us become brave adventurers that has served us well in our adulthood. Growing up at the other ranch where it's a little more wild, it's in a canyon, we were exposed to lots of different wildlife: coyotes, bears, mountain lions, deer. We have a ton of deer. As a kid, I actually didn't like avocados. The texture, I think most children kind of find that texture funny, but my mom is an excellent cook, so she would put it in salads, and of course guacamole is always a hit. And I grew to love them, obviously. As a kid, I always knew I wanted to be a farmer. This is part of my family legacy. I come from a long line of farmers. And was exposed to the ranch from the very beginning. My parents and grandparents took us everywhere. We did everything. We did irrigation checks. We helped with harvest when we were old enough. We've been part of the decision making from the very beginning. I'm fortunate to come from a family who believes in collaboration and cooperation. So my brother and I were integrated into the operation from the very start. In December of 2017, the Thomas Fire ripped through this area and created quite a bit of devastation. The avocado community lost about 5,000 acres in that. We personally lost about 70% of our ranch at the other location. This was spared because we're in the irrigated valley part. It really tore through the canyons. That ranch over there is my maternal grandparents' ranch. The house that they built in the 60s that I grew up in and that my parents were living in burned to the ground that night. I am so unbelievably grateful that my parents survived and that all of our community did. Had experienced wildfires before. It is part of living here and farming here. Wildfires are part of our ecosystem, and we've learned to adapt and live with it, but this one was something that no one has ever seen, with the high winds and how powerful it was. To have a fire of that magnitude in December took everybody by surprise. I can't tell you how hard it was to see 2 generations of our hard work and stewardship of the land just go up in a matter of hours. It was 2 hours and everything was burned to the ground, and there was nothing anybody could do to help us. So we spent the next days and weeks and months rebuilding. Our employees came. We're so incredibly grateful for their work, and they're leaving their families during this time to come help put out spot fires along the ranch. We replaced the irrigation system right away so that we could get water to our grove to try and save what trees we could. And we're still in the process of recovery. It's going to be a long road. Our ranch burned in 1985, and you can still see trees that we had to leave, that we were able to kind of recuperate. They're not fully functioning still, and we anticipate that these trees that were damaged in the Thomas Fire will have the same fate. It's going to be a long road, but it's not without hope. We are optimistic that we will get back to where we were someday. It might take us until Oakley and Dorothy are my age, but we'll get there. And it's just, again, one of those moments where you really take stock of what's important and what really matters, and we can replace trees, we can replace irrigation, we can replace equipment, but we could not replace my parents. And so every day I am grateful that they're still here, and I get to experience their joy of life and their expertise in this industry, and I guess there was a little silver lining in that fire in that it brought us home. Peak availability for California avocados is spring through summer, so when you go to the grocery store, keep your eye out for the California avocado label.